Da da da
Dun,
uh,
dun,
uh,
dun,
da 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 da.
dun,
Da.
dun, dun, dun.
Oh my gosh. Hi everybody, it's me and Luke. I'm
Hello.
Shannon. If you don't know, so me equals Shannon and Luke
Me
equals
equals
Luke.
Luke.
Oh man, it's gonna work. Luke,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Staying busy as ever, but doing well. How are you?
I'm doing also well. Busy, but probably I don't think I'm as busy as you are. You are like you are in the thick of the weeds of theater and work and doing good
Yeah.
for the planet. Luke Wallens
Working
doing
on
good
it.
for the planet. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun.
We're out here. One of the things that you're doing great for the planet is meeting with me on usually sometimes Mondays, other times Tuesdays,
Mhm.
but always about the design of improv and
Yes.
how we actually use and can use improv in our lives. And that's what we're talking about today.
Mhm.
Specifically, dun, 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 Clowies.
Yay! Ooh, okay. All right. A lost connection with self. How do we get it back? Ooh, oh, ooh,
Ooh.
yeah. It's wonderful. This is juicy. This is great. So yeah. Okay. Cool.
So yes,
Yeah.
we talk about this every week. It's like we're talking about certain things. This month is all about connection.
Mhm.
And I've just been like, yeah, this idea that we change, Luke, we
Mhm.
change,
Mhm.
we lose ourselves, lose yourself in the music that you own it. You gotta never get it something. It's one shot, not miss your chance, opportunity, lifetime. It's so good. I'm really good at this. Um,
Wonderful. Brilliant.
but you like
Yeah.
we change and
Mhm.
sometimes we want to be a certain type of person and
Yeah.
we can't seem to get there, or we were a certain type of person and
Mhm.
we change out of who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this idea of like just losing connection, and how how do we get it back? Sometimes we might not even want it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
you, Luke, your
Okay.
turn.
Okay.
Your turn.
So, so yeah. 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 Lots of questions with this, but
Oh,
I
I love
think
the
it,
question
it
time.
um so but like but I think you were we're on the same lines of about like like adjusting to our sense of self, and like like, and as we go throughout this life and our journeys,
Mm.
we find different points to be like, you know what, I can let that go, or I want to take this on, or I'm still holding on to this, different things like that. And so you have different expectations of yourself. So it's kind of like, if you if you imagine like two bouncy balls that are attached, like one's expectation and one's the self, and it's just kind of like, are they bouncing in sync, are they at different times, like um and like, are we expecting too much of ourselves, are we or or do we have an image of the self that is not in the reality, you know um and and especially like as actors, lots of times, actors like, yeah, yeah, I could totally do that, yeah, I could do that role. And it's just like, oh wait, I've only paddle boarded once, and now we have to go down a raging river, and I have to act like I'm very confident, which I am not. You will see it on my face. So
That's great. It's great because the idea of like the expectation of self, what you think you could do and what you can do with
yeah.
this idea of a lost connection, because some of that is like you're losing a connection with a created self, an expected self or created self, like a not anticipated, but a self that you have projected,
Mhm.
like you have this projection and you're like, yeah, no, I can get there. I can attain those things. And you lose that connection. I feel like that can make you feel so sad.
Yeah, it it can, because you're realizing the distance between the self and the expectation, and
Mhm.
so it's gonna take a dip. It's gonna be, those things, those attachments are gonna be closer, so the string is gonna dip a little bit. So, um,
Whoa.
but but at the same time, like it doesn't mean that the connection is lost. The connection is still there. Like
Mhm.
there's still like you still like feel confident enough to go there and to reach that point where like I feel like I know more about, let's say, the skill of painting. And
Mm.
so it's like, it's like, yeah, I could totally recreate whatever that painting is, and then realizing like, ooh, I've got a lot of skills that I'm doing that, like, I got I got to work, I got to observe, got to practice. Connection is still there, even though uh, you're acknowledging like, okay, this is where I'm at right now, and like taking
Ooh.
into the present moment, and then comparing that with like where you need to go. Yeah.
It's like, wow. Okay. So one of the things that this makes me think of is character. So you're talking about,
Yeah.
oh, like, I love that you're saying the connection is still there because you're
Yeah.
right. You're projecting something sometimes in this scenario that we're talking about. You're projecting something and you can see yourself as that thing, whatever it is, whether it's a
Mhm.
whitewater rafter or what.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you whitewater raft, right?
Yeah. 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 That is. It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever it is. And even if the full, what I'm hearing is, even if the 100% projection isn't true for you, or it's 100%, not 100% unattainable, but 100% of it is unattainable, but some of it is still there. And
Mhm.
so what I'm thinking about as far as on the stage is when we do put on characters that are not ourselves and they are unattainable, as in they are unsustainable. They're
Yeah.
unsustainable. So a character that's like has a really gruff voice and is stomping around all the time. Like,
Yeah.
okay, just doing that was really tiring. but but the idea, what I'm talking about when I say to students is, hey, that character is unsustainable. Like, I see that you
Right.
have a projection or an idea that you want to be a gruff, low voiced, giant or whatever, but is there something inside of you that you can connect to, pieces of yourself, that you can still get that, like what you're saying, you can still attain some of that character. You can still get that character across, but
Mhm.
maybe it's not so hard on your throat and maybe it's not so
Mhm.
hard on your body. And when you return to it, we all know that you're a big scary monster. We
Mhm.
know who you are and you're still attaining the thing, but it's not this wild, like unsustainable projection of
Yeah.
self.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it makes me think. Yeah. Because basically, because yeah, what you're talking about is just kind of like getting to the heart of that character, and like, it's
Hmm.
like, okay,
Hmm.
like you can still be that character and still be like, well, oh, sorry, I had something in my throat, but I'm still that character. Rawr,
Right.
and I want to talk about stuff, like,
Right.
so, that's, you're still the same character, but also like what helps ease into that transition, and get you closer to who that character uh is the fact that that we're laughing about it, we're laughing along the journey, we're finding, be like, you know what, like, we're gonna be clear with the audience about like, I as a person cannot sustain this, and I'm gonna
Right.
acknowledge that, but I'm going to keep on going with this character because I know what I can acknowledge with the character.
Oh, that like dives right into the the other side, which is off stage.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the swimmer comes to mind for whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the idea, like, okay, I'm gonna be an Olympic swimmer. Ah! And I'm gonna wear a Speedo and I'm
Yeah.
gonna, I don't, this is what Olympic swimmers do, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna swim every morning and I'm going to um eat like some swimmers do, whatever it is. But but at the end of the day, you realize, well, maybe the Olympic part is this Olympic swimmer dream is too far. Maybe it's too much. And instead of throwing the whole thing out, we can, in place of the laughter, what I'm hearing is enjoying the journey, like enjoying,
Yeah.
acknowledging
Yeah.
that that's something that you wanted. And you can still get up in the morning and swim 3 times a week. And
Yeah.
what part of that Olympic swimmer persona or dream can you still hang on to that's sustainable for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And to go along with that, like what like where do you come in? Like you're comparing yourself to like this ideal Olympic swimmer or maybe one specific Olympic swimmer, but like you got to come back to the fact that like you're there. You're the one going on that journey. And so like and so it's not only comparing, but it's also like, okay, what steps do I need to take on my unique journey to get where I need to go for my Olympic journey?
You're like excellent. You're excellent because I mean it's happening right now. If you're watching this, this happens all the time. You need to watch all of our shows because every
Yeah.
time I feel like I'm learning right in the moment. This idea of where are you? Where am I? Oh, I might tear up. Where am I in the journey? That's so I've never like, where am I, Shannon, as I'm sitting here right now on this show?
Mhm.
Who am I? Where am I on the journey of like comparing myself to this Shannon that I have, who is a cyclist? So, like, we'll take
Yeah.
real life, right? So, one
Okay.
of the things that I really am like in my head, I'm just like, this is who I want to be. I want to be the person who is on their bike every
Yeah.
day through rain and snow and wind and heat. And I want to bike camp, I want to bike
Yeah.
camp and I want to pitch tents and I want to be on my
Yeah.
bike all the time.
Yeah.
And I have this vision of who that Shannon is and all the cool gear that she has and the cool bike stuff and the places she's going and what she eats and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I've never really thought actually to be like, cool, that person's cool, that Shannon's cool, but who is this Shannon
Yeah.
now? Like,
Yeah.
what can I, who am I now? Like, what, maybe I don't have like thousands of billions of dollars worth of gear, but what do I have? And what can I do? Maybe I can't ride my bike for hundreds of hours, but I can ride it for a few minutes.
Yeah. 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 You're still aiming and going towards that goal.
Yeah.
I want to take a pause and say, hey, Charlotte.
Yeah.
I saw you in the comments. Says hello.
Hi, Charlotte.
Welcome. And welcome to any journeyers who feel free to comment in the chats,
Please.
whenever you want, and we'll talk about it as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, because I was thinking about it, like, this past weekend was a big improv marathon where a lot of improvisers come in and out, and there's like 8 core members and everything like that. But everyone's just kind of like coming in and out of their journey. So I only came in like for an hour, improvised for an hour, and I left out of that. But like there's some other improvisers that came in, multiple times throughout, or helped, with a chunk of tech or things like that. And so you know, like, but the thing is, I knew that I was like, I can only, for me, I could only be there for an hour. Like, that's how
Mhm.
my schedule was going. That's, you know, and also, yeah, it's just like, that's how I could support and function in that. You know, still got the marathon a little bit, you know, so it was really fun. Um, but yeah, like, and similarly, like with the biking journey, um you know, like everyone has like their own you know, like, even if you're on the same journey, like you may have different diets, dietary restrictions or anything like that, or may need to take different rest levels, you know,
Mhm.
times to rest, um, you know, and so it's it's about just kind of like, you know, figuring out like, okay, I want to achieve this goal, but how can I do it? That would be, how can I tailor it towards me? You know, and still participate as fully as I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I am still on the on stage part.
Yeah.
Oh, actually I'm thinking of also reminds me of people, oh, who are looking, people who are excuse me, who are quieter, smaller improvisers
Yeah.
who are looking to be either louder, bigger improvisers, or who are looking just to sort of stay there the same, like, but still have attention, you know, be in the
Hmm.
spotlight a little bit, but they're
Yeah.
not the person who is like brash out there, center stage,
Yeah.
downstage. They're like a smaller character. Maybe they're a quieter voice.
Mm.
And I'm thinking about what you're saying in this, like, well, in this thought process of, okay, I'm a smaller player, like
Hmm.
as far as character wise, voice wise, but I want to have some attention. I want to get to be a bigger character or whatever. And the thought isn't changing your entire being right now. The thought,
Right.
what I'm hearing from you,
Hmm.
it's not about like, okay, well, I guess I have to put the person I am now, I have to completely put them away and be somebody I'm not. I have to, or mimic this other person. So that's not what we want. What we want is, how do we find little steps to still be who you are and accomplish the goal. So
Hmm.
maybe we're quiet and small, but we are down center
Yeah.
stage. You know, we are center stage and in front. Or maybe we are loud, maybe we're
Hmm.
trying to be loud, but we're still like back
Yeah. Yeah.
back upstage, like, you know, with our small character. We can have a loud voice and a small character,
Yeah.
but I'm hearing, how do we incorporate, what is the goal? What are pieces of the goal? And how do we incorporate those pieces of the goal into who I am right now as I'm sitting here?
Ah. Well, I have an exercise for that.
Well, just wait a second. Don't get ahead of yourself. Do you hear that? That means Luke and I want you to do something. We want you to.
Cool. So, Khalees to try too, my dog.
Yes.
So what this is, it's just kind of like a little bit of a drama therapy exercise where it's like, okay, say that like I want to do a general thing of I want to um, be more confident in myself, you know, like to go along side with like, you know, but the thing is, you know, confident is just a huge ass kind of emotion. It's a great
Mhm.
emotion. I was told as an improviser myself that I was like, you have to be bold. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means. Like, you know,
Mhm.
so this would be an exercise to do to kind of try it out, where it's like, okay, you're told to be bold. What and are told to be confident. I'm going to change it to confident. But yeah, let's strike a pose that is very, very confident. So Shannon and I are just gonna, both like, so very direct eye contact, right to the camera. Little, finger to the chin. I've got I like to call the Wonder Woman pose. Where it's like hands on hips. And then come back to who you are, like just kind of like sitting right there. Okay, cool, great. And just notice that, like, okay, where you're at with that. Be like, because I'm not there. I'm like, okay, cool, great. I'm just chatting. So I don't feel very confident. And so and so what would so we had confident as the ideal thing, but what do we like? What's the feeling right now? What Shannon? What's the feeling right now in terms of your body posture? Like, what does it say? Yeah,
it says pensive, calm, collected thinking.
Okay, cool, great. Yeah.
My legs are crossed, my hands are sort of in my hands, they're in together. Yeah, thinking.
Yeah. And mine's just kind of like, okay, cool, chatting, relaxing, just be like, okay, present, but that's about it. So what would be kind of a step in between? What would that like look like in a little bit? Yeah. So like we automatically like lean forward a little bit. Yeah. And what would be like one small phrase that you would say in this pose?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I might say, like, I hear that, and I really love what you had said. So yeah. So that's just a small exercise. We can relax it after. Great job.
We can do it.
Thanks for playing at home too.
Yes, good job. Because I love this, because it sort of answers this second part, this how do we get it back, right?
Yeah.
This like a lost connection with self. And when we're talking right now, we've been talking about a projected self and sort of losing the connection with that. And how do we get that connection back instead of just giving up the entire thought about it? How do we save some semblance of it? And this, I love that, like, consider who you are now, like literally in the moment, how you're sitting, what your body posture is doing, how you're moving through the world, and then think about, and then practice, put on that character almost of Shannon the cyclist, right?
Yes. Yeah, there we go.
Right, Shannon, the person, the adventurer. Great. And what does that look like? And then, okay, I can't just walk around like this all the time, just literally, because I don't even feel like that's me, right?
Yeah.
And so what's the in between? And the in between is like getting yogurt that's vegan.
Step one.
The vegan yogurt. I see Shannon, Adventure Shannon, eating lots of vegan yogurt, and I can eat that right now.
Right. Yeah. And also what this exercise does a little bit is, like, like we're saying a lost connection with self, but part of me is also asking the question, like, where did you go? Who did you give attention to? Like it's okay to give attention wherever you want. That's great. But like, but then it seems like because you lost connection with yourself, you gave a lot of more attention to other things or other people. And it's good to come back to, like, okay, where am I with that? And how can I join that again.
That is so beautiful. When I it's right directly parallel to when I'm thinking about characters on stage and how we end up losing our characters or dropping when we're talking
Yeah.
improv talk, we're saying we
Yeah.
dropped that character. But what usually happens is we're giving a lot of flack to the person for dropping character, like you're dropping your character, make sure to da da da. But really, what this is such a beautiful thing that you're saying. It's like, it's okay to lose that connection. It's okay to drop that character because what's happening probably is that you're focused on story, you're focused on another character, you're focused on supporting somebody, you're focused on clarifying the story, you're focused on the improv of it all, and we lose that connection. And that's okay. You said focus. What did you focused on? What did you focus on?
Yeah.
Where did you go? And I love that because all right. I put some attention on somebody else's character. I put some attention on the story, and now I can. Oh, what was I doing? Right. I'm right. I'm this. I remember this guy. Remember this guy, everybody?
Yeah.
And we can come back to it.
Yeah, and that comes back to like I not only like callbacks and all this stuff, but yeah, like you could be like, oh yeah, I got my voice again. Yeah, yeah. It's always fun to come back to, but it also like once again you're finding a way to ground yourself again, and with the new knowledge that you have of the scenes that you've played.
Ooh, yes. And we can, and you said finding a way to ground yourself again with the new knowledge of the scenes that you've played. And we can just like take that and stick it right off the stage, right? Finding ways to ground yourself again with the new knowledge of things that you've done, right? Like Shannon, for me, okay, well, this vision comes and goes, right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm there. I'm going, one of these days I'm going to be that adventurer. And also, I've got a graduating stepson. Like, he's going into high school. Sometimes I have to take him to school. I have to do things that require me to be in my car, not on my bicycle.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Right. And so then it's okay. Like I put focus over here, and then we can, how am I doing over here? We can return and still find my, vegan yogurt or whatever the next step is that I can gently fold in so I can remember that adventurer Shannon.
Yeah. And to go along with that, but it's just always good to come back to like, a familiar routine or familiar meal or activity, things like that. I mean, like driving your stepson to school and be like, okay, so this is this is something that it's routine, got to do, but at the same time, it's like a good grounding force, like to be like just to connect and then like carry on as well. So
the parallel. I feel this was like we did so good on the parallels on this one because for that, finding the routine is great. And then for off the stage, coming back to finding the routine. And then on the stage, coming back to the, what was my voice? It was this, right? Can lock you back in. Or what was my body posture? It was this. Can lock you right back into that character that you're trying to reconnect with.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it's totally okay to lose a connection with self, just as long as you're like, because you're always with yourself. So so like you're always connected somehow somewhere, and so it's just finding those that mental space to come back to like, okay, what's a good grounding force for me, and what's and where can I springboard off of that to the next adventure.
Listen, you're amazing, and I love talking to you. You are, and you, the watcher, the journeyer, you're amazing too.
Yes.
We love you, and however you're connecting to yourself, make sure you connect to yourself on and
Off the stage.
mwah, bye.
Bye.